Hey everybody, Professor Doom here. Just a little bit, there's so much craziness going on in the world right now. I'm just going to show you just a little bit of what's going on in Israel, because I'm going to show you guys this whole video is about a document really from decades ago that I want to talk to you about, because there's some very interesting things going on with the migrant situation that I want to show you, especially in relation to where they're being put. And it might help us explain why everything's being done the way things are going on right now. Let's take a look real quick at what's going on in Israel.
IL/forward EN. And for more on this, we were earlier joined by Dr. Mir Elran. Dr. Elran is a former brigadier general and a senior researcher.
Okay, so what I've been seeing is that Hamas has pretty much invaded Israel. They were shooting people indiscriminately. They have bombed tanks. They shot over 800 missiles into Israel. What happened to that dome protection they were talking about years ago? I don't know. Anyway, the fact is that there's absolute craziness, not only with Israel, but the whole proxy war going on between us and Russia fighting it through Ukraine. Okay. And you got China making moves right now, just waiting for the moment for them to step into Taiwan and finally take all of the countries and the lands that they've now declared here just recently that they were going to take control of. Southeast Asia, Taiwan, everything is fitting into this whole grand scheme of the United Nations and these 10 regions that they have set up for the future of the world. Okay? Anyway, so how does the United States fit in to all of this? I'm going to show you a video before we go take a look at the document. And before we take a look at the video, I want you guys to think about something here. Just a moment. Realize that the whole depopulation projection of Deagle.com is getting ever closer and ever closer. As I've already stated once before, I do not believe that the year 2025 is the date that it starts, but that is when those numbers are going to be reached. So when does it all begin? When does the United States begin to fall? Because that's exactly what Deagle.com shows us in their depopulation projection report. We go from roughly 330 million people down to roughly 51. Well, they changed their projections over the years. It was 69 million, 54 million, 51 million. Anyway, whatever it is, just know that it's going to take a severe hit. But how is all this going to come to pass? So Deagle.com had to have known. Stephen Jackson of the Illuminati playing card creator had to have known certain things were going to happen, and I'm going to show you an Illuminati playing card that's going to fit right into the document that I'm getting ready to show you. But first, let's take a look at the video that's showing us what's going on in the state of New York right now. And this is just one little section of New York. There's all kinds of migrants being placed in motels. There are migrants flooding the streets of New York. And where are they all coming from? Let's take a look at the video.
Wait, sir. You're not supposed to do that. Excuse me? You're not supposed to film here. That's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to film here. What is this? What is this? I don't know.
Okay, hold on a second, folks. Okay, let's try this again.
You don't have right to do this. I don't have the right to do what? You don't have right to film in here. That's what I'm telling you. What is this over here? And who are you? Okay, you want to know who I am? Please, sir. You don't have right to film here. I'm checking.
And I don't know why this
To
keeps
you right
happening.
now, you don't have right to film me. Can you please? Who are you? I don't know. Who are you?
Building. They don't want nobody out here.
They don't want nobody where?
They're standing in front of the building with a camera.
Well, I don't know why it keeps
Oh, y'all
happening.
bugging.
And you really want to record it, man? You bugging.
All right, you wait. Yo, why you surrounding me? Why you surrounding me? You wait. Oh, now you want me to wait? Yo, you wait. What's up, yo?
Okay, anyway, I don't know why it keeps doing that, but anyway, as you can see, they don't want anybody seeing what's going on. Let's take a look at a news article from the Daily Mail, and which is absolutely true, is that Joe Biden has granted work visas. Let's take a look at this. So this article dated from September 21st goes on to show us that there has been, especially from the country of Venezuela, and there's been Africans from Chad and other locations of Africa that have been coming over the border, and we've actually seen where U.S. Officials, I don't know what particular agency they're with, but they were seen in video footage of cutting concertina wire and allowing migrants to come in. Okay, so let's take a look at this right here. And what's I'll explain to you something else that's interesting about all of this as well. And if we take a look down here, since January, Biden has granted work permits to nearly 500,000 Venezuelan migrants. How many U.S. Military personnel are there in the United States? So think about this. This is just Venezuelan. How about when you think about other countries, Colombia, and you think about the borders being completely open and all kinds? Those are just the people that were seen coming across. But how many have not been shown to us through video footage? Think about all of the different individuals that could have been coming over. Okay, so now what I want to show you is a document from approximately 5 decades ago. And then we're going to take a look at something and it help explain the reason why Texas has been sending these migrants to New York. Okay, so Venezuelan migrants coming in and they're being sent to New York. And as you can see from the video footage that I just showed you, is that they're either on the streets or they're being kept in hotels and they don't want you to see what's going on. Let's take a look at the document. Okay, so here is the document here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the exact same document, but with some commentary to help us understand exactly what it is that they're trying to tell us. But I want you, okay. So do you remember I did a video showing you guys all the 10 regions and the United States world coin? And do you remember how different regions were going to be taken over by different countries? Russia was going to have their area, and China was going to be taking all of Southeast Asia, Taiwan, and all those locations. And what's interesting is that China just recently came out declaring a map that was going to have all of those locations going to be taken over by them. Okay? And it was all per the United Nations regions coin that I showed you. So now, ask yourself some simple questions. How did Deagle.com know that this depopulation was going to start and it was going to reflect our major depopulation hit in the year 2025? Ask yourself these other questions. Why are all of these migrants coming from all of these countries now when the United States is really reeling from this whole, how do I want to say it? We're going through an economic collapse, hyperinflation, Gas prices sky high. Why would you want to come over to the United States now? Is this all a plan? Let's take a look at the plan as it was laid out around the 1950s. Okay? And let's read what it says. And I know that you guys could not see it. World Government Plan, Alien Troops to Police the USA. Okay? Do you guys remember the litmus test that was put forth to the military branches many, many, many years ago? And they were asked if they would fire upon American citizens. Do you guys remember that? All part of the plan, right? Okay. Let's take a look at the U.S. troops are not going to be policing. Please observe that the United States, according to their plan, will be policed by Russians, Colombians, Venezuelans, Belgians, Irish, Mongolians. No Native Americans will be allowed to police American citizens. Okay? All right. So, what I'll do is I'll leave this for a moment. Hopefully you guys can read this. I'm not going to read it all to you. Okay? This map adopted in 1952 in London by the World Association of Parliamentarians for World Government. Okay? There would be right over here to the right, there would be a world, something, I can't read it, 8 zone directors and 51 regional directors, none of something, okay. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to read it all to you. Okay? Do you know what's interesting about this? If you come through here and it tells you, look at this. Look at on the map. Venezuelan and Colombia, these troops are going to be policing the Northeast. It's right there, number 65. See it? Number 65. Colombian and Venezuelan. Okay? Right there in the Northeast region of the United States. Let's take you to that commentary, okay? And this is a perspective on the map. When American police and soldiers refuse to murder fellow Americans, foreign troops will be called in. Several decades ago, the United Nations determined the American soldiers could not be counted upon to brutally murder massive numbers of fellow citizens in a nationwide gun confiscation program. They then decided to bring foreign troops and deploy them across the country in military patrol zones. Okay? As you can see, right there, number 65, and you can't make it out, but there is Colombian and Venezuelan. Okay? Now, if you look closely at the regions right here, and it goes on to show you that the Northeast is going to be patrolled or policed or going to be involved in the Northeast region of the United States. Colombia, Venezuela, right there. Okay? And if you look right here, Southern America, all the way to California, Russian troops. And the line begins at Virginia and goes straight west to the border of California. Okay. Now, China is supposed to go up into Canada. Very interesting. If you can take a look at all of the lunacy that's going on in Canada, this is all starting to make sense now, isn't it? But do you want to know what else makes sense? Let's take a look at the Stephen Jackson Illuminati playing card for the martial law of the White House, and you're going to see that the foreign troops are definitely been shown to us right there on the card. What troops do you think that they are displaying right here in this Illuminati playing card? How did Stephen Jackson possibly know that there was going to become a moment in our time that would play out just like he depicted on this card, just like he depicted other events on other of his cards? If we believe those to be true, the Pentagon, the Twin Towers and other events that he displayed on his cards, then this definitely would have to hold some kind of truth as well, wouldn't it? But what troops were he depicting on this martial law card? And if that document is telling us that Colombians and Venezuelans that we see now are being shipped up to New York, and you have them being housed, and now you have people that don't even want you to take video footage of these people even being there. What's coming, folks? What is coming? The craziness going on with Israel, the craziness going on with Ukraine, Russia, China, and the United States. It's getting crazier and crazier, and it's all going to be coming to a head. Got to remember, that depopulation date is getting ever closer and closer. Now, I did say that I was going to be working on this, and I'm still trying to. There is a lot of freaking documents to pour over in the Casillero files. And I just want to show you just a little bit right here, folks. While I have this video going, I'm going to show you why it is so freaking difficult to get all of these documents all in a structured, cohesive presentation for you all. I'm going to show you that I have been sitting on these documents for several years, and I have not. It's so time consuming, and especially when going over these documents, and there's a lot of them, and they come straight from Danny Casillero himself. You're going to see documents in here that are with his handwriting, and as you can see right here, take a look. Danny Casillero, 1990. The book was going to be called Behold a Pale Horse. Isn't it interesting that William Cooper he must have known. He came out with a book by that same title. And I'm going to show you here why it is so difficult. Let's take a look. See, they have been sitting here in my mega cloud since 2020. And I have all kinds of different stuff right here, as you can see, all of this, okay? I have CIA cabal. You got to go through all of these, okay? Do you see why it is all of these different stuff that I want to present to you all? And let's go back here, okay? I have Guccifer Lee. I got all the Hunter Biden files, everything Hunter Biden, got it, okay? And like I said, it's just, and to go through the Franklin cover-up and show you how it's all connected to, let's just suffice it to say this. I'll give you guys all of this right here in a nutshell, in case I'm not able to get to all of this because of current events that are going on right now. I'll tell you this. I believe that the whole purpose for Danny Casilero's death, it was because that Mr. Bill Clinton was going to become president the very next year. And Danny Casillero was getting very, very close to revealing a lot of stuff that was going on, and not only in Arkansas, but what was going on in Washington, D.C. with certain sex rings, how it all fit in with William Casey, how Mr. Casey, Oliver North, and everybody were taking money from savings and loans in different locations, Louisiana, Nebraska, Florida, and they were taking that money and these weapons that were being created at the Cabazon Indian Reservation, they were going down to Nicaragua, and they were bringing back cocaine. And not only was that going on, but they were also bringing heroin over from Southeast Asia. So this, from all of the documents that I'm seeing, that's exactly what was going on, okay? And do you know what's interesting? Think about this for a moment, just as a little tease here for a moment. Do you guys remember the individual, the press the White House press guy, remember Jeff Gannon, whatever his name was, Jeff Gannon. And what was interesting about this is that he ran a homosexual website or this, whatever it was, X-rated porn, gay porn. And he was a personal attendee in the White House as a press guy for George Bush. Isn't it interesting? The whole thing that was being shown to us through the Franklin cover-up involved politicians that were all into this homosexual activity and child kidnapping. And Mr. Johnny Gosch, according to Paul Benaschi, was kidnapped by him and others and was kept alive. So isn't it interesting that we're seeing an individual who was still alive many, many years later, who fit the description of a paper boy who was kidnapped in 1983 out of Des Moines, Iowa, and who was still alive to become that press reporter at the White House for Mr. George Bush. His whole family was involved in this kind of activity. So it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So if I don't get to all of these things that I want to show you regarding the Franklin cover-up connection to Danny Casolaro and everything that he was about ready to expose, that as his documents show, well, I gave you just a brief of what I'm going to try to get to. And there. Just want to say thanks, everybody, and take a look. There are tons and tons of stuff for me to try to wade through, to put in a commentary video presentation. Does you see how hard this is? That's why it's been taking me so long. Thanks, everybody.